At that moment, I thought, I'm just going to gain weight, I guess, till I die, and that's going to be sad, but I'm done.
Wow. Okay.
So it was this sorrow and relief at the same time. But I didn't realize that surrender was actually the beginning of my freedom. Because when I stopped hyper-managing my food, and I stopped depriving myself, and I stopped weighing my poor self and feeling shame all the time, when I kind of gave up, it made space for my body, my wise body, for my mind to begin to do what she's meant to do anyway.
Yeah.
What my original self did from the beginning.
Hey, I'm Lauren Lucas. I'm obsessed with learning, and I live for true, authentic connection. I'm a wife, a working mom, professional singer-songwriter, and an instructor of songwriting at my alma mater, Belmont University. You could say that life's a little full. I'm always looking for a way to sneak in some me time with great friends, good food, and meaningful conversation. Here we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the hard, and the wonderful. My guests include well-known recording artists, hit songwriters, film directors, wellness coaches, and creative entrepreneurs. Plus, we throw in a delicious beverage, an easy weekend recipe. Think of it like happy hour, but better. I'm Lauren Lucas. This is the Happiest Hour.
It's the happiest hour when I'm with you. It's the happiest hour. Let's raise our glasses to doing this crazy life together. Keeping it real can't get much better. As long as I'm with you, it's the happiest hour.
Oh, a quick PS. My plan is to bring you a full season of the Happiest Hour. But let's be honest, as a busy working toddler mom, work-life balance, at least for me, can be a challenge sometimes. So I might skip a week here and there. Here's what that means. No matter how you enjoy the Happiest Hour, whether it's through the YouTube live video or through your favorite podcast app, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for the latest episode. That way, you won't miss a thing. Today, my guest is Cindy Landham. She is my personal liberated eating coach. We talk about food freedom. We talk about body image, the struggles, and also the peace that can be found when you do it a different way than listening to diet culture. So if that sounds like something that interests you, come on in and let's get started. Cheers.
Girl.
Welcome to the Happiest Hour.
Cheers. Oh, it is the happiest hour, just being with you.
Oh, I feel the same way. I really do.
We've come far.
We have come far. Okay, so I found you locally here in Nashville through an in-person workshop event. You popped up, I think, I must have been on, it had to have been online, I guess socials maybe.
Yes, and maybe Facebook.
Maybe, because I was not familiar with the event. I was not familiar with you.
The medical practice, though, you probably were familiar with them.
Yes. That's right. A medical practice here in the Belmead area. And I can't remember the exact phrase that was on the graphic, but it was something around, do you remember what it was?
It was about struggling with food. Struggling with food, because that grabs about 97% of us. Yeah. And, being pregnant, my main focus was not about losing weight at that time. It was more like, okay, I need some mental freedom from this obsession that's going on. And something about how it was phrased on your graphic, it was like, that is me. So, one day I won't be pregnant anymore, and I want to know how to achieve this freedom. Yes.
And so that's how we originally met. And oh my goodness.
I remember you just walking into the room and me thinking, that is a gorgeous pregnant lady.
Oh.
You're just glowing.
Well, thank you. You were probably going, what is a pregnant lady doing?
No, interesting. Many people who become parents all of a sudden want to get this food thing right because they don't want to pass it on.
Yeah, that's right.
They do not want to pass it on. It is it's much bigger than just us.
Yeah, very fair. And I quickly learned what I had already started to sense, which was the main thing is not weight loss when it comes to true freedom around food.
Absolutely.
So I was kind of in the right place at the right time, since I couldn't even focus on that.
Yes, I think it made it easier on you.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to put that on the back burner.
Yes.
Heal our relationship with food. Then we can do that more easily, freely, naturally. But as long as it's the first thing, food keeps being the deal, and it's not the deal.
Yeah. So I want to dive into all that, like what the deal is and all of it.
Yeah.
Before that, tell us a little bit about how you got on this journey.
Okay, wow. So Reader's Digest. I grew up just kind of, a normal kid in a small town, and everything, happy in my body, didn't even think about my body until puberty hit. And then just genetically in our family, we are not real thin. And so I began to pack on a little weight, which would have cared for itself had it not been the 70s and the golden age of, teen magazines and diet culture was really just on hyperdrive. And my mom had struggled with her weight, so she was mortified I would struggle with mine. So all of a sudden, my weight became a big deal. And the only answer was dieting. So I began that 30, 35, almost 40-year cycle of diet, binge, binge.
Yep.
Okay,
so you say puberty, like 13, 14?
Yes.
Around there? And do you remember what your first diet was?
Oh, Lord. It was baked chicken and grapefruit.
The grapefruit diet.
The grapefruit. There was also the boiled egg, banana, and hot dog diet.
Oh my gosh.
I've
never heard of that one, but I might actually like that one.
Well, I'm much older than you. I mean, I can give you some crazy diets from the 70s, and they were horrible.
The banana reminds me of the cabbage soup diet. There's like a whole day you
Dolly
only
Parton
eat.
did that.
Is that where that is from?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that. I did the cabbage soup diet, and there was a whole day you only eat banana and milk.
Oh yeah. And you can have all the cabbage soup you want the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yum.
That's right.
That went well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so binge dieting, yo-yo dieting, starting around puberty.
And I probably need to add to my story. Each story is, of course, unique. My mom became the food police. And we've talked about it many times. She is a wonderful woman, and she was trying to protect me from her weight gain pain. But as we all know, that backfires. So when she was my food police, and she kind of got my dad in on it too, then that set up the cycle of secret eating, hoarding food, of sneaking. And so with that came shame.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Oh, the shame.
The shame. And I am so broken. Nobody does this with me. This is another whole part of dieting that is so detrimental. We each feel our own brokenness, and it isolates us. We don't want anybody to know that we've gotten food out of the garbage can, or we've snuck Oreos at 2 a.m. And eaten a ton in 3 seconds.
You saying that reminds me of the iconic scene in Sex and the City when Miranda puts I think it's a chocolate cake in the garbage, and then you see her open it back up, and you can see her think about it, and then she gets Dawn or some kind of dish soap and just squirts it all in there. So she wanted it.
Yes, I've used vinegar, I've used soap, put food down the disposal, the whole thing.
But you said in the beginning 97% of us?
Well, most American women are not happy with their bodies, and now many men, and with that is shame and unrealistic expectations. And
so we're not alone.
No,
we feel
not
like we're alone and broken, and we're the only ones sneaking food, but we are not alone.
That's right. That's why our tribe, our online community is so important. When you've been there many times, when we see other people shake their head and go, I get it. I understand. Me too. You're not alone. It changes everything.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you can relax and take a breath and know that there's hope. But as long as we think we're broken, it is very hard to have the confidence to move forward. And dieting kills our confidence. I mean, it just comes under our confidence and sabotages it.
Yeah.
We think we failed to diet. And the problem is that the diet's not possible. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So we think we're failures when the options, the solutions we've been given are actually the problem.
Wow. Okay, so I know I keep interrupting you because everything you're saying, I'm like, okay, so fast forward a little bit. So puberty happens, you're growing up, your parents are the food police, and then how did you find your freedom?
Oh my word.
From this?
Oh my word. I was such a food mess in college. When I look back, I would give anything to know what I know now as a young woman. In fact, it makes me weep all the time. I lost as a young woman trying to fix my body, trying to manage my food, trying to be good. And those just should have been the best freest years. Actually, 60s are the best years. But, so here's basically what happened in a nutshell. I was in my 40s, had yo-yo dieted, binged, struggled with food all those years. And I was a chart maker. The weight chart.
Oh yeah.
The weight chart.
Okay,
I just needed that visual. If I had $1 for every chart I ever made, and I was making yet another chart that I was going to put on the back of the bathroom door, hoping nobody in my family would see it because shame.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, mom's on another diet. So was making the chart, and this was a moment I'll never forget. It was not exactly an audible voice, but an inside voice saying, why do you think this is going to work? What are you doing? It was like something in me woke up and said, why would you do this again?
The definition of insanity, right?
Yes.
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome.
Exactly. And I felt two things at the exact same time. I felt this unbelievable shame at such failure that finally my internal voice admitted I was a failure and this wasn't going to work. And oh my goodness, Lauren, I felt relief. Relief. In that moment, I knew I would not diet again.
Wow.
I may not weigh again. I was done with this. Why would I do it again? Because I was a failure. And so it's like a relief of getting caught. You know, finally I don't have to keep telling this lie, even though I'm in big trouble.
Well, and what I hear you say, it may not have felt quite like this, but I'm hearing you say surrender.
Yes.
It's like, this is not going to work again, and therefore I don't have to carry it anymore.
Yes. At that moment, I thought, I'm just going to gain weight, I guess, till I die, and that's going to be sad, but I'm done.
Wow. Okay.
So it was this sorrow and relief at the same time. But I didn't realize that surrender was actually the beginning of my freedom. Because when I stopped hyper-managing my food, and I stopped depriving myself, and I stopped weighing my poor self and feeling shame all the time, when I kind of gave up, it made space for my body, my wise body, for my mind to begin to do what she's meant to do anyway.
Yeah.
What my original self did from the beginning.
That's one of the biggest, well, there are so many things I've taken from your workshop and your book and our time together and your coaching, which is, you're such a great coach. Well, you are. It
comes from my heart.
Well, and it shows. And I think about this so much, and I think about it now. I'm potty training our 2.5-year-old, and well, my husband and I are potty training him, and I think all the time about what you say as it pertains to liberated eating, which is your wise body knows. It knows best for you. You can trust it. And I think about that with my son. It's like, let your body do what it wants to do, you know? And so anyway, I think about it in a lot of different ways. But I think about that idea all the time. My body is wise. I can trust it. Yeah. Because I've spent a lot of years as well not trusting it and micromanaging.
And dieting naturally undermines that trust because we're told to obey outside rules when what we realize, years later is being well is an inside job.
Yeah.
So we get back in touch.
So what is this thing we're talking about? If it's not dieting and it's not charting weight, what is it?
Oh my goodness, big question, big question. So I think we have to know something here that will be helpful. Dieting is built on two things that cannot work for human beings: deprivation and hypermanagement. In human beings, deprivation always eventually leads to excess, especially with primary needs, and food is a primary need. And hypermanaging our food, or anything for that matter, eventually in human beings leads to obsession. So we don't know it at the time we're dieting, but we are greatly damaging our relationship with food and our body. We are setting up a cycle of eating too little, then eating too much. That's the excess. Of hypermanaging our food, so we lose confidence that we know how to eat. That's the obsession. So we become obsessed with our bodies, our food, our weight, good food, bad food. All this is undermining what
our wise body.
Yes, our wise body. But dieting has undermined it.
Yeah.
So we are getting back in touch with our signals of hunger and fullness. We are slowly but surely building our confidence again. And that is miles from that deprivation and hypermanagement. And honestly, it takes some time for us to undo the damage dieting has done.
So when you, jumping back to your story just for a moment, when you surrendered, and first you thought, I'm just going to gain weight the rest of my life, that's going to be sad, but I'm done with this. That's not what happened.
No.
What happened?
Well, I promised myself two things at that moment. I promised myself that, okay, if I can eat anything now, because I'm done with dieting, then, you know what? The huge binges, like the sitting in the Kroger parking lot and eating half a carrot cake with my credit card, those moments when you go, I am really a sick person, and those isolating moments. I don't really ever have to do that huge amount of binging. I don't have to do anymore because I can eat anything I want whenever I want. So that was one thing. The other thing was I still had teenagers, and I knew my propensity to be depressed if I didn't move. So I promised myself that I would keep walking. I love to get outside and walk, so I was walking almost every day. When I was dieting, I would walk. When I wasn't dieting, I wouldn't. So I promised myself, I'm not dieting anymore. I'm going to be a walker now.
There you go. Okay.
So,
and can I pause just for a second and ask this? So you mentioned you had kids in the house. You mentioned earlier your mom was so worried about her own food failures, if you will, that it kind of got lobbed onto you.
Yes.
Did you find that you were following that pattern with your kids because your fear also did that?
I do not know how I knew not to do that. I think it was because I was under the thumb of the food police and I knew what it felt like. I mean, I knew it was mortifying to sneak food and be scared you're going to get caught and yet feel like it's impossible not to.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, what a terrible place to be. I never talked about food to my kids. Now, they saw me diet. They saw it.
Sure.
But I never said, don't eat that, do eat this, that's too much. I just somehow knew not to.
Yeah, okay, great. I think adjacent to this conversation, because you brought that up early on, I think that is something that is just a tricky part of parenting, because whether it's food or something around our vanity or whatever it is, the thing that we're ashamed of, we want to protect our children from it, and I just think that's it's just a tricky place to be as a parent.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Regardless what the subject matter is.
Right. And food right now, you know, in our social media, digital culture, there's so much information about food and nutrition that even if we don't struggle with our weight, I talk with parents all the time who are just confused about how to talk to their kids about food. So yeah, I run a whole mini workshop on that just to help parents kind of get out of give them a framework so they can relax and enjoy being at the table with their kids.
Yes.
Instead of policing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. So, sorry, jumping back into your story.
Yeah.
You didn't gain weight the rest of your life. You were now eating whatever you wanted.
Yes.
And you were now a walker.
Yes, I did gain weight.
Okay.
Gained weight. But it didn't, you know, when you're dieting and binging, you lose a lot and then you gain it back in about the same amount of time it took to lose it. I mean, I lost and gained the same 40 pounds. I have no idea how many times.
Yeah.
Oh, my poor body. So what happened was I slowly gained some weight and it leveled off and it began to slowly come down, and I and my body got to find our happy place. That comfortable weight where I've got the energy I want. No American woman is probably as thin as she wants to be, but I'm letting my body lead me. And she's happy, I'm happy, and it's easy for me to stay here. Now, I could work really hard to lose 10 pounds. You know what we say in our community, we say release weight instead of lose it.
That's right.
What I lose, I almost always find eventually.
Yeah.
But when I release something like a butterfly released out of a cocoon, I don't expect it to return. And so that's our goal. So that's another one of our goals, isn't it? That we work with our body and partner together to find our happy place.
Yeah.
So we're not always disappointed in our body, always struggling to lose 5 pounds.
Yeah. It is. It's so much. For me, it is, and I know for the other people on our coaching calls, it's so much about the mental and emotional freedom. In fact, we probably talk more about psychology, emotions, spirituality, more than we talk about food in our coaching calls.
Yes.
We sometimes talk about food.
Absolutely.
There are some things about nutrition that are factual.
Yes,
you know, there's information out there.
Yes. Well, and our goal is to thrive. So we do talk about how to feed ourselves in a way that we're going to thrive. We're going to feel like $1,000,000. And that is not deprivation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's been so transformational because it has been so much about the emotional piece and the mental piece of it. To begin to care for yourself. Yes.
Instead of deprive yourself.
That's right.
To begin to be curious about what you just ate that didn't go the way you wanted it to, instead of for the critical judge to move in and say, I really can't believe you did that again. What is wrong with you?
And even detecting the critical judge.
Yes.
I mean, the critical judge has been yapping for so long in the background.
Yeah.
Diane
invited her in and she took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so even just detecting like, oh my gosh, I am speaking to myself that way.
Like you would never speak to anybody else.
Yeah. Never even paid attention to it, you know? So it's so illuminating and freeing, liberating to the point of the title of your book and your workshop and the work that you do.
Yeah.
So weight loss is not the main thing.
Correct.
People come into the workshop or read your book because perhaps they want to be mentally free like I did, and perhaps because they weren't quite happy at the weight they were at, also where I was. Of course, I was also pregnant at the time, but even still, before and after postpartum. But it can't be the main thing for it not to feel like deprivation or obsession.
Right.
So if that's always been the measuring stick of a diet, if you're doing good or bad, or if you're being good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So if that's not the measuring stick with liberated eating, how do people know what's working?
That's a great question.
Or what does success look like, I guess?
Success looks like coming to a meal and you're present. And you can enjoy your food, and you don't have the battle and the obsession going on. And you can eat what you want and enjoy it in a sane way. I don't even love the word moderate, in a rewarding way. And you can leave that meal feeling energized, nourished, refreshed, ready for the next part of the day, not having eaten so little that you're empty. And then in 2 hours prowling around for something else.
Yeah.
And not having and not leaving a meal feeling heavy and tired because you ate too much. You know, we talk about how we eat mindfully and connecting and tasting and enjoying. We talk about why we eat. Because we're hungry. Our body needs food. Rather than so much what we eat. The carbs, the calories, the points. So success is peace in your mind and feeling like $1 million in your body. Energy. And you know what? Clarity of mind as well. A huge part for me, Lauren, was I have memories as a young mom, I can cry again, of having a food hangover.
Yeah.
You know, because I just binged. And looking out my kitchen window and seeing those 3 kids out there, and I realize I'm not 100% available to them because I literally am in a food coma. And you know, they come running in with their little happy faces or whatever, you know, maybe they've had us fat, who knows. But what I know as a mom who loves my kids, I wasn't 100% available a good deal of the time. And now, you know, that is not true. Food is no longer using up my personal energy and space back here. I'm available.
Yeah.
Now, you know, that doesn't mean life's not messy.
Sure.
But no longer is food taking up my bandwidth. And gosh, that feels good.
Yeah.
Gosh, that feels good.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you work with individuals. I mean, I'm a part of your community. We have an online community.
Right.
Tell us about how people can kind of enter your world if this is sounding like something they'd like to look into.
Sure. You know, I love to just have a chat one-on-one first and hear people's stories. And
you work with people. I mean, we have someone that's usually on the coaching calls I'm on who's in London or in Britain, I should say. So you work with people all over.
Yeah. I started out face-to-face 15 years ago, teaching a workshop to a small group. And I loved that. Those stories are in the book. But what I realized later is, wow, I want to share this with as many people as I can.
Yeah.
And online makes that possible. So, you know, anybody can go to theliberatedeater.com. And I basically work with people in several ways, some one-on-one, but we love the group coaching. And then also I have an independent level. So especially if budget's a problem or time's a problem, people can get the information they need and the support in our Facebook group, but it is not going to take as much time or cost as much.
Yeah.
So there's basically 3 levels to choose from to fit people's different needs these days.
Yeah, for some flexibility.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so just kind of a fun question. What are you loving right now? Just maybe a product that you love that you could share with us. It could be anything from beauty, wellness, kitchen appliance, something for your grandbabies. I mean, I don't know. What are some things you're loving right now?
Wow, it's such a great question. So I'm not much of a gadget girl, but I will tell you that my favorite kitchen gadget is my salad spinner.
Oh, yeah.
I even like the noise.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about pop, pop, pop. That thing kind of gets some aggression out.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Yeah. I got one for my dad recently because he just couldn't find one, I guess, that was getting the water all the way out. Yeah. I love mine too.
Those things are awesome. Girly stuff. So interesting. The older I get, the less makeup I wear. I think that the older makeup can look very different on an older woman. So it actually is rather freeing to not wear much.
Yeah.
But a Revlon Color Stay Ultra Suede 045 is my lipstick.
Oh, okay.
And when I find it, I buy like 5.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
That's great. Oh, you know. Yeah, you know
That's
exactly.
a good
your color.
one. Yeah.
That's great.
Other things for grandbabies. We're big on books.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, so that's fun. Finding the best books and the fun books. And I even have a few in my head.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay, so question I ask all of my guests.
Oh, wait, purple shampoo.
Oh.
If you find, if you go gray, which I have just loved. I was probably this white by the time I was 45.
Okay.
Had, just that struggle to actually go gray.
Yeah.
Get brave. Purple shampoo is the answer. Not every time your hair will turn purple. But
I actually use a purple shampoo because of my highlights.
Love it.
It doesn't bother the dark.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of keeps the highlights.
Yes.
Whatever,
Instead of brassy, they're
just brighter and Is there a brand that you're kind of devoted to on that?
I'm experimenting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I can't think of the name that I use right now. Oh well, I'll think of it. Anyway,
share it with me.
I will. I like it a lot. Okay, question I ask all my guests. Legacy, basically, a legacy question. If Liberated Eater went away tomorrow and your coaching business went away tomorrow, what would you want people to know, and what is it that you'd want to leave behind and make sure people know?
Girl, you are asking some big questions. I cannot just the word legacy reminds me of our liberated eating community because we do talk about that a lot. So I do want to leave a legacy, especially to younger women. Love your body, trust your body, enjoy your body, all shapes, sizes, ages, colors, stages. Enjoy and trust and partner with that sweet body. So a legacy of freedom. I would also say don't go it alone. We tend to isolate ourselves in those places where we feel ashamed or uncomfortable. Please don't go it alone. Yeah. That's for people who are struggling with food. Wow, legacy for, the bigger picture, you're enough. You got everything you need right now to live your life. Trust that you're enough. You got all the grit, you got all the courage, you got all the creativity, you got all the love, you got everything you need. We tend to think we've got to look out here for our answers. But each of us are enough to be ourselves really well.
Yeah.
And to, fall into that, no matter how awkward it feels, just to begin to trust it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And there again, don't do it alone.
Yes, that's right.
Find other people who are willing to trust that they're enough. And enjoy their own uniqueness with yours as well.
Yeah. I love that. Something you said reminded me of something we talk about in workshops. So do you have just another minute?
Please, I'm all in.
Okay, good. So you said love your body, and that's tricky sometimes, and we talk very specifically about this.
We do.
So, and it's kind of a buzzy phrase in the last few years, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Body positivity and body love and love your body.
Yeah.
What do we really mean when we say that, I guess? And just talk a little bit about it, the way...
I'm glad you brought that up.
How you've guided us through that in coaching. Because sometimes we just don't, right?
No.
We're not there yet.
And it's a bridge too far. So it's just like, scroll on.
Yeah.
So we look at it in increments. And we talk much more about body respect and noticing and respecting what my body allows me to do today. I couldn't come here and enjoy being with you unless my body brought me here. So starting from that place of respect and acknowledgement that, wow, this body of mine allows me to put my arms around Bob. And, if you don't have a family, to love your pet and to go walk with your dog. So we're starting from what our body allows us to do rather than what it looks like. And I noticed that it's much easier for us to go through the process of, all right, I can respect and appreciate what my body does. I love to watch birds in the morning. Open the window, listen to the birds, feed my birds.
We just got bird feeders.
Oh,
I'm starting to love
the
it
best.
too.
It's the best. It's meditative for me. Well, that takes eyeballs and ears, and that I can walk out there and put the bird seed in the bird feeder. So start there.
Micro, granular.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy, and how did your body allow you to do it? Because our grandest memories have only been possible through our bodies. That we were there in body. We are embodied creatures. So we start there, and then we move into, okay, let me just have a working relationship with this body. You know, we talk about our 4 behaviors of mindful eating, and we talk about our 13 principles of intuitive living. Those happen mainly through our body and our mind. So we just start with then the second stage is working relationship. And we know, most of us from our working experiences, that when we work with people, we make some friendships in those teams. So I trust, and I see it happen over and over again with people that say they hate their body. Once they move into, they're just willing for a reluctant partnership, they'll work together. Friendship is inevitable in time. In time.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think, it's important, I think, to talk about that with the nuance that it deserves.
Yes, and don't demand that you love your body. No, we can't start there, most of us.
Yeah.
Most of us.
That's
so
great.
This reminds me, I have to tell you about Caroline. I just think about her. I work with people from 20s to 80s. And Caroline is now in her late 70s. And when I met her about 8 years ago, she hated her body. She had literally dieted and binged for 50 years, half a century.
Yeah, wow.
We worked together, I'd say it was 3-4 years of just healing that damaged relationship with food and her body. To see her now, and this is crazy, but she has actually released 50 pounds. Her health was not good. She needed to do that for her health. And after about 3 or 4 years of healing her relationship with food, she was actually able to release that much weight and has kept it off now for another 4 or 5 years. She's off her medication, but when I ask her what do you love about this? She never says the 50 pounds. She says, I love myself. I love my body. I love to sit down and eat. I love, it's the freedom. It's the freedom. We think it's the weight. It's not the weight.
Yeah.
It's the freedom. It's the peace.
Cindy, thank you so much.
Oh, my joy.
For taking your time and being here with me today and us today.
Oh, my
Cheers
goodness,
to you
girl.
and liberation.
Cheers to freedom.
Yes, for sure.
This is
and
great.
Cheers, I know, cheers to this yummy homemade chai tea you brought.
Love
the recipe, so thank you. And we're going to give away a copy of your book.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
My microphone is on it, so let me see if I can do this without making a ton of noise. And I will show it.
Exciting.
So one of you will be getting this book, her Liberated Eater book. And you can get details on how to enter in the show notes. Thanks. Oh, that was so much fun. I wish I could talk to my guests for hours. If you want more from the Happiest Hour too, make sure you head over to laurenlucas.com/happiest hour for the show notes, recipes, and products mentioned in the episodes. And you can learn how to access Happiest Hour bonus content. Oh, and if you're looking for a way to make true and authentic connections with other people who are music lovers, who want to carry on the conversations that are started on the Happiest Hour episodes, and who are friendly and supportive, join my exclusive online community. It's absolutely free, and we would love to have you. I run fan contests there from time to time. I do free live stream concerts. The link is waiting for you at laurenlucas.com/happiest hour. Until next time.